Hello, my friends. It is Kat back again with the second part of the breed review. I hope you liked the other video, and I'm recording this one right after that one. So if you left any comments about this one, I apologize. I pre-recorded these, but I will take your comments in consideration for more videos. If you'd like for me to go more in-depth on each horse, please comment down below and I'll associate a video per horse breed, and I'll allow for more opinions and more commentary on that, and maybe more real-life comparisons between the real breed and the game version. So if you would like to see those videos, please comment down below. And I will see what I can do on those. I'll probably do more of the newer models because the older ones, like I said, are becoming more and more outdated in comparison to more of the high, I don't know what to say. But anyways, the newer ones, again, have more smooth line animation and are more better made in terms of design. So first up we're going to do is the Pintabian. I have this one, which is the bay with the smaller white markings, which I do not know my Pinto markings to heart. So please don't target me. I researched it at one point, and does it stick in my head? No, it does not. On to this horse. I actually really like this horse. It is kind of more, it's not as perfect as I would want it to be, but I do really like how they've done the Arabian mold, just based on how it moves. On this specific horse, it's got shading on the hooves and two-toned, and again, they've made the Arabian's tail high set. Now, the mane, I'm not the biggest fan of. I think it's kind of blocky. I wish it was kind of more, kind of luscious, I guess you could say. I like the tail because it drags and it's kind of low. But again, I'm not the biggest fan of the mane. I do like the forelock. I like how it splits. It's not animated, but I do like how it's spread apart and it's not a chunk on top of the horse's head. So I do like that. The standing animations I really appreciate, and I like how it moves. Now onto gaits. I like the walk quite a lot. I think this horse has a very beautiful walk. It's very smooth in its movement. It also has a head bob, which I think the bob could be a little bit less, kind of more of a bob. I do like it though. And one thing about the walk is I do wish that the tail was not as posted, as high. I think you don't see that as much in more like a trot or a canter, but they keep it kind of unified throughout most of the gaits. The trot I appreciate quite a bit. You've got some tail movement. Again, you've got some head bob, but the neck itself stays pretty stationary and it's just the head. So I do like that quite a bit. I think it's over pretty smooth. The canter, I'm not the biggest fan of. I feel like the shoulders could come forward more in its movement. I feel like it's just the leg that's been doing all of it, but not the actual shoulder itself. One thing about the Arabians is the freaking ears just bounce, and it's my favorite thing. Like, I love watching the ears on this horse. On the extended canter, slow gallop, whatever you want to call it, again, you've got tail bobbing. I feel like this is a very appropriate animation for the tail. And again, you've got the ear bob, and I really appreciate the gait. I think the back legs are just a tad stiff in this one. But when you go to the full run, I think they kind of over-animate the high step of the horse. Again, the tail bobbing as well as the ears. The ears are my favorite thing ever. Look at it. Just look at it. This looks like some floppy pancakes. That's my favorite. But anyways, so the rear I think is pretty cool. I think it's pretty good. It keeps its eye open, which I like. This is probably getting too long of a review. On the sliding stop, it does close its eyes, which I talked about in my last video that I'm not the biggest fan of. I wish they would keep the horse's eyes open when they do that. And last video, I forgot to do jumping. On the canter, I think it's pretty good. On the run, I think it's nice. And on the extended run, I think it's almost like there's a block that they jump onto when they do the really fast run, but it's fine. They all do it. If I was to rate the Pintabian and Arabians out of 10, I'd probably rate them a 7 because I really like them. They're not as new, but I still really appreciate them and all the things that they are. Okay, so now I'm going to review the Norse Swedish horse in the newer model, and let me just tell you, I love this horse. I freaking love this horse. This specific coloring is on the smartphone app where you transfer it. I really like this one. I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but all of the colors on the North Swedish horses I really love and I really enjoy them. This is just the smartphone app, which I really like because it already jumps it to level 10. As you can tell, I haven't leveled this horse at all. But this horse is one of my main questing horses because I like how it moves and I like its gaits, and I also like the tack that I have on it as well, which you can't see because I've taken the tack off. But anyways, on to this horse's review. This horse is the fluffiest thing I think I've ever seen, and I love it to death. The details on this horse is fantastic. If I go into photo mode, just look at the face. Just look at that freaking face. But just look at the detail that they've done on the horse itself. I love the fluffiness. Also, I've purchased the cropped tail just because I feel like it gives it more of a cute atmosphere and attitude. The standing animations I really appreciate on this horse, and I do like it. My only thing is I wish they didn't cover the eye completely so that on this side you didn't have the eye covered. Now onto the walk, I really like it. My only thing on this is I think that the back legs are a little bit stiff, but that's my only thing about the walk. I do like the head. I do like that they have movement of the mane and forelock. I think the trot is gorgeous on this horse. I think this horse has got some of the smoothest trots, and again, the animation on the mane and forelock is stunning. I don't have the full tail to animate that, but again, like I said, I don't like the over-animated tails, but the cropped one doesn't have as much movement. And then the canter on this horse is probably one of my most favorite canters on any of the other models. Again, a lot of animation on the forelock, and I think it's overall a pretty smooth canter. The slow gallop, I think, is very beautiful in this one. This one, I think, is a little bit it's not as elegant as the other gaits. It's probably my least favorite on this horse, but I still think it's pretty smooth. I think the back legs are still a little bit stiff, and again, you get more animation out of the mane and forelock. At a full run, I think this horse is so precious. Look at that thing run. It's so cute. I really love how extended it is, but it's not overly done. And again, you've got some beautiful animation of the mane and forelock. And again, not too much on the tail movement going on. The rear, I think, is cute. Also, they've added in the stomp where it has this puff of dirt. And I think it's really cool how they've done that with this horse. They do make it blink, and they do over-animate the forelock, which I do appreciate because the forelock on this horse is very long. On the sliding stop, they do keep the eye open on this. I think it's very smooth. The jump on this horse, I think, is nice. I think it looks pretty good. I'm about to run into the fence. Again, I think it's one of the nice jumps on these horses. I think this model is really beautiful, and I really appreciate it. Again, it's one of the newer ones, so it's got a lot more of those perks. If I was to rate this horse out of 10, I'd probably rate it a 8.5 because I really like it. And it's also cold tolerant, which I'm super happy about. Okay, so now I'm going to review the Lusitano. And this horse, I think, is extremely beautiful. I think this is one of the most prettiest and beautiful horses on the server today. I feel like the realistic nature of the actual face of these horses, I think the Lusitanos have the prettiest faces in the entire game. I think they're so highly detailed and personally, I'm a huge fan of the Roman nose, which is the nose that kind of concaves out. I find that very stunning. I think it's very elegant in horses. And I think that they've really done that. And the shading on these horses is gorgeous. And it's not just the bay one that I have here, but I think all of them. In fact, I own 2 Lusitanos. I have this one, which is an in-game purchase, and I also have the dappled gray from the app, which I've transferred over. Again, I think these horses are stunning. The standing animations for this horse I love it. I think it's very smooth, very cute. Again, I think the details on these horses are absolutely crazy, and I think they're stunning because of that. Onto the gaits, I think the walk is I think these guys have some of the best gaits. I think they're very smooth. I think they're very long. The horse is very elongated legs. It's not short and stiff as I've seen some of with the other ones. I think this one's very smooth and very well done. The trot on this horse is my favorite trot on any horse. Period. Done. It's my favorite. Look at that. Look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. Again, you've got animation on the mane and on the forelock, and I like how it bounces, but it's not extreme. Onto the canter, I think it's pretty. This is my least favorite gait on this horse. I think it's kind of like, again, on the Pintabians, I think the shoulder doesn't come forward enough in the movement of the front legs, and then therefore it kind of seems off in my opinion. And I do think that the tail is kind of over animated in terms of it kind of moving about. I feel like in realistic nature, that horse has got to have a ton of flies bothering that back leg to have that tail moving that much. On this movement of the slow gallop, I think is gorgeous. I think the tail's moving maybe again a little bit too much, but the mane I think is elegant in how it moves, and I love how the forelock has moved back over the ear. It's still moving, but it's moved appropriately back enough to where you would expect a horse to be running that fast for the mane and the forelock to be moving that way. Again, it's got very smooth motions, and it definitely looks like a slow gallop. On the fast gallop of this horse, everybody knows that the mane goes crazy, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I think this horse is animated stunningly, and I think Star Stable did such a large amount of time on this horse as I run into the fence. Again, I think this horse is stunning in every way that they've animated it. The rear, I'm kind of like, I think opportunities to take photos with the rear are more difficult, just how it extends itself. The running stop, I like it. I think it's okay. I don't see the running stop that often. I don't think most people photograph it, so I don't think it's as much. And again, I'm going to butcher this, but the Piaf. This movement I think is really pretty, and I really do appreciate it quite a lot. My only thing is the movement on the shoulder here kind of gets a little bit wonky, but it's a movement that they've just tested out, and I think it's still pretty smooth. If I was to rate this horse, I'd rate this horse probably a 8.5. I put on the same level as the North Swedish. I think they're stunning. Racing-wise, I don't think they have championship racing abilities, and I don't think they have, record-breaking speeds. I could be wrong, but personally, the way that I play the game, they don't fit for my style. But overall, I think they're a stunning horse. And for videos and just overall riding, I think they're perfect for anybody. Okay, so the last horse I'm going to review is the Trakehner, which the actual breed of Trakehner is one of my top 5 breeds of horses. I really like them. I like their conformation, and I enjoy how just athletic they are. The Star Stable Online horse is my favorite breed in the entire game. I love this horse. I own this one, and I also own the app one, which is actually level 15 currently, and is my championship racer. I love these horses so much. This one I have the braided on, so you can't see the actual pre-mane. What I can tell from the mane that comes with the horse normally, I think it's very cute. I think it's very accurate for a very athletic horse that is usually bred for showmanship in jumping or cross country and eventing. I think the Trakehner is very athletic in that sense. I think they've done a really good job portraying that with the mane and tail, as well as the conformation with the horse you see now. This horse, I love, like I've said. The standing animations, I think, I really, really appreciate. I don't think the details in the coats are as defined as that of the Lusitanos, but I do think that the qualities of this breed, being the agility, is very high, and I also just really like how it runs. Like I said, I run everywhere, so that's the gait that I see the most, and I want a horse that I have the favorite gait being the one that I see the most, being the running, and this horse definitely has that. Now onto the walk. It lowers its head from when it stands. So I really appreciate that, where it kind of lowers its head. I think it was a cute detail. I think the back legs are just a little bit stiff, as well as the hindquarters. I think this kind of extends a little bit too far, but I think overall the walk's pretty good. I do like how the body sways quite a bit. Again, the bouncing ears, one of my favorite things. Now, the trot on this horse, I have to say, is pretty horrendous. I don't like the trot on this horse at all. I feel like it's kind of off. It feels kind of I don't know what's up with the trot on this horse. The canter, I think, is really pretty, though. Like, look at that extended leg. That's stunning, isn't it? Again, I like the movement of the head. I think the tail is, again, slightly over-animated, but that tends to be the theme with most of Star Stable's horses. But I just really appreciate the beauty of this horse. Now the slow gallop, I think, is really beautiful. I really appreciate the bob of the head. I think the tail animation is pretty accurate. The mane and forelock animation, there is no animations, if I remember correctly, which is, I think it's accurate considering it's a shorter mane and a shorter forelock, but that's not a killer for me. I actually prefer less animations on the hair and more on the gaits itself. At a speed run, this horse is so much fun to watch. The head bob, I think, is very accurate of a horse that is running extended. I think it's very beautiful and very smooth. Again, like I said, I think this is the gait that you should have the horse's head be bobbing quite a bit. I think it's very cute to watch, especially from here or on the sides. I wish there was a little bit more ear animation, but again, I can't be too picky. The sliding stop is kind of wonky. The back legs kind of do this weird shift thing, but overall, I think this horse is absolutely stunning. I think the rear is actually kind of cute. I like how it opens its mouth quite a bit. It's not like a, oh, I'm crazy. It's like a, yay kind of sound. You know, that's just my opinion on it. Now, onto the jump of this horse. I think this horse has got some of the best jumps. I think they're very animated well, and I really like how they're designed. I think they're done very well. Now, this horse is priced at 750 star coins. Compared to all the other ones, I think this horse is priced the best, is animated in one of my favorite ways. I think this horse is stunning in all the ways possible. This is my favorite horse out of all the breeds so far. Again, I don't own all of the breeds. This is just out of the ones that I own. So personally, there could be another breed that I ride or that I purchase that I ride that I actually like the animations better. But this one so far takes the cake in my opinion. And if I was to rate it, I'd rate it probably a 9.5. Okay, so now I'm going to review the horses on the database and the different colors, Again, I suggest you check out this website. It's just Star Staple database if you look it up. Here's the creators, or I guess it's not a creator. By Abby Starwatcher. I really appreciate her. These photos also belong to her. And I'm just using this for purposes of comparing all of the colors within a specific breed to show what it's like. Alright, so now on to the first horse we reviewed, which was in this video, which was the Pintabian. The Pintabian, if I can find it on my list here, kids should be able to do this without having to look. Apparently, I'm incapable of finding the Pintabians. Anyways, the Pintabians came out on, I have to look this up, the Arabians came out on June 7th of 17, and then the Pintabians came out on October 4th of 17. So there's kind of a bit of a difference there. And the last color variations to come out came out on November 8th of 17. So they're about a year old, which is kind of accurate. The Pintabians, I think, are really diverse, and I think they're very colorful and beautiful. I like that. They can have the color of the hooves being diverse again, and then you've got the two tones, mane and tails. I think some of them aren't as accurate. For example, this flaxen pinto isn't, I think, super accurate in terms of that. I think labeling an Arabian as Pintabian, if it doesn't have an Arabian standard coloring, I think is kind of what they do with these horses, which I think kind of stretches it a little bit. Again, a Palomino, I think it's beautifully done. I think it's painted very well, especially being dappled. And then the coloration, again, of the hooves and the nose. I think I prefer this coloring over what the Icelandics have for their Palomino paint. But I do think that they're kind of stretching it with colors here. But I do appreciate the different patterns that you can get on these horses being more or less being more or less white, or being more solid, or being more kind of broken up and patchy. I do appreciate the variance in that. On the Arabians themselves, again, I'm going to include them all together. Arabian thoroughbreds, even though Arabians. I do think that these are overpriced for being how expensive they are, and I don't think their stats are that great in terms of the pricing. I think they should be priced lower for that. This horse reminds me of a freaking red bean. I don't like the coloring on this one specifically, but you get to, I think this gray, I think is really beautiful. I really like its shading and coloring, as well as I think this brown is beautiful. I think the black is really pretty. I think the black one is very stunning. I think the dappled gray is And then I think this chestnut is very beautiful. I think the shading they've done on the body, as well as the color of the mane and tail, I think is very beautiful. So I really appreciate the variants of the Arabians and the Pintabians. But anyways, now on to the North Swedish horses, which came out on February 7th of 2018, and the last variant of coloring came out on March 7th of 2018. So there was quite a bit of gap. Again, we're not going to review the old bodies, but the new ones. I think the North Swedish horses have got some of the best coloring options. Look at how rich this horse is. This horse has got some deep shading, again, around the eyes and the muzzle, again, and in the stomach area. I think the Cremello, I think, is very beautiful. They have the pink tints. Is this color option as... I don't know if this color reflects the breed in real life as that well, but I do think they have painted it quite beautifully. I think the Palomino, again, is very gorgeous. Again, the shading on the fur and just the muzzle. I think the muzzle on these horses are very cute. I think they're done very well. They have the darker shade of Palomino, which I prefer the lighter one. I think it's the pale Palomino, I think has better shading, especially on the muzzle. But it's due to personal preference. It really depends on what you like and want. This one has solid stockings and socks, while this one has more of a faded version. Again, it's just a darker, more golden. This is the one that I have, which I really like. Again, there's multiple colors that I would like to own. This one I think has a lot of detail to it. I think it's got a lot of shading, and I think this one is a very beautiful one. I think the hooves themselves have I think Star Stable they didn't match the shading on the hooves to the rest of the coat. And I think, the black one I think is very stunning. It does have the brown undertones in the mane, which most black horses do not look pitch black. Especially in the summer, they do fade because of the sunlight. As you see, people get their hair gets bleached by the sun, so do horses. So I think that the coloring on the mane and tail is very accurate. I think it adds a little bit extra to this horse, as you see with the other color variations. Now on to the Lusitanos, which they came out April 18th of this year, and the last color version so far has come out was May 23rd of 18 this year. So I think the Lusitanos, I think the Lusitanos colors they're not varied that much. You've got your gray one, which I think they've done a pretty good job on. I think the gray and the black one of these horses, I think their shading is lackluster compared to the other ones. I do think the black one, I think the hoof detailing on these horses, I think is very stunning. I think the buckskin is actually done so well. I love the breaking up of the coat with the dappling. I think it's very beautiful. And I like the chocolate points of the legs and the muzzle compared to the harsh black ones that you see with other buckskins. Again, this one is more lighter. This could be a dun. I don't know if there's a dorsal stripe or not. I'm sorry. And this is the one that I own. My only thing about this color variation is the fact that the mane and tail do not match, and that kind of upsets me a little bit, but I handle it just because I think this horse is very beautiful, and again, that the coat pattern that they've done, I think is very stunning. This coloring, I think, is more true to the Lusitano's actual coloring, but I think something about the mane and the coat color kind of matching kind of just blends it all together. I kind of wish that either the mane had some shading in it, kind of like the North Swedish horses do, or just something to kind of break up the coat from the mane and tail. But I think this golden color is very beautiful. The Palomino, it looks... This color I would expect to see on a quarter horse, like a reigning champion. It's cliche to have Palominos. I don't know if Lusitanos can come in an actual Palomino. I do not know. I think the coloring is very beautiful, and I think that the mane and tail color is not a pure white as a lot of the other ones have. It's got some cream to it, which is more accurate. So I do appreciate that. The bay one, I think, is so cute. Also, the reason why I got this one is because it has a snip on its muzzle, and snips are my weakness, and I had to get it just because of the snip, but I also grew to love the rich bay color, and I think this one has got some of the deepest shading of all of the coats. So again, I think there's not that huge variety. You've got a lot of kind of the yellows, and the bays. I don't think there's that much variation, but again, I don't know how much variation the actual Lusitano breed does have in real life. Okay, so that was part 2 of my breed review of the horses that I own. Maybe as I get more horses, I'll do more of these. If you liked the video, please like it and comment down below. If you would like to see a video dedicated to just one breed and reviewing that and spending more time on it, please comment down which breeds you would like to see me do with that, or just in general if you want me to do all or just some of them. And I like to appreciate all you guys coming and watching this video. Again, I'm just starting out on YouTube with SSO accounts. And anyways, sorry, I got distracted. Again, so there'll be more videos coming hopefully in the future, especially coming out on the starter horses and reviewing them and comparing them to other breeds to see what they reflect like, because the Jorvik horse does not exist, so seeing how they take inspiration from other breeds, and looking like it's gonna be a lot like the Trakehner's and the Hanoverians, but we're gonna see how they come out and what they look like, and especially to see the different coat colors of the original coat colors that you come out with, which you could not see. My starter horse is in the buckskin coloring, however it does have the tall white stockings, so kind of wishing they have that color variant, except for they have an actual black point, so it could be labeled as a buckskin and not just kind of like a pale chestnut. Anyways, thank you for coming and watching, and like I said, if you liked it, please like and leave a comment down below for what you'd like to see me to do. Again, I'm pretty open to just about anything on this account relating to Star Stable Online. Again, this is Kat, and if you would like to see more, please let me know. Alright, see you guys later.